All right, good afternoon, everybody. Interested in the beginning of February here, February the 1st. How you guys doing today?
Doing well, doing well.
I'm doing fantastic.
All right, man. Before we even can begin to talk about the type of stuff we normally talk about, well, you know what? Before we get into that, because it's pulling at my heartstrings. But before we get into that, tell everybody out there, Dan, how they can get in touch with us.
All right. We are Athena Protection Service, and you can get in touch with us on our 1-800 number at 800-951-4866. That's 800-951-4866. Or you can reach us on any social media platform at Athena Protection Service.
All right. And as always, make sure you're hitting that like button and that share button. And do me a favor. Tell a friend that might not be on YouTube or any of those social medias to get on there and follow us. We could use it. But, hey, as I was saying on this February the 1st, once again, we got a snowy weekend. We was talking about it earlier. It's been crappy every weekend the whole year.
Yes, it has.
But we ain't had all that major snow, so I'll take all of this.
You know what? You do got a point there, Marlon. And again, thank you. We got our resident guest in the studio today with us, Marlon. Always love his insight. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
But, man, there's no way we can start this podcast off today without talking about the tragedy of last Sunday when we lost Mr. Kobe Bryant. I know for me, I will always remember where I was at when I got that news. And first of all, the first couple of times somebody told me about it, I didn't even believe it. You know, it was, I thought it was a practical joke. You know, in this day and age, you go on social media and you expect to see on there the reality or if it's true. Right. And at first, I didn't see anything saying it was true, so I thought, man, this can't be real. That don't even make sense. Not Kobe. But unfortunately, I ended up finding out moments later that it was true. And then add insult to injury to find out, and I'll be honest, let me rewind for a second. The first report I got after confirming that Kobe had been killed in the helicopter crash, I heard a report that he had 3 of his daughters with him. And it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So shame on that report. I actually heard, if I'm not mistaken, on one of the stations.
What I think they said it was the whole family or just the kids?
Just the 3 daughters and Kobe. And actually one of the reporters that reported that without getting his facts straight actually may have been suspended or
they suspended.
Even terminated.
No, they ain't terminated, but they suspended them.
Okay.
Damn.
But again, man, just the tragedy and just, I know for me, I wasn't really a Lakers fan growing up here in the D. Especially thinking back to 2004 when we had that gentleman's sweep against the Lakers. Man, I'll never forget it. We gave those boys a whooping. But Kobe, in true fashion, what was it, 2008 he got back there, couldn't finish off those them Celtics, but they went and did a LeBron James Miami type style thing before LeBron even did it and built them a team and said, not today, Kobe. Yeah. But, hey, Kobe still 2009, 2010 did his thing. And just give you guys opportunity to talk about where you was at when you heard the news and maybe a memory or two about Kobe, if you don't mind.
Oh, man, I was at home.
Oh, wow.
When I heard about it, and me, I go straight to Twitter, see what's trending.
Right. See, I went to ESPN. I didn't go to Twitter. Shame on me.
Yeah, I went to Twitter, and every suggestion was Kobe. Every trending topic was Kobe, and I was like, damn, it must be real, So, I started looking in other places and just kept seeing confirmations. Obviously, when it first came out, it was in the air about who else was with him, but it was, pretty much everybody knew that he was on the plane.
Right.
And for me, I just, I made a couple posts about it, and Kobe is, the embodiment of hard work and dedication.
Absolutely.
And being, just focused and dedicated on your craft and doing what's necessary to win. And that's what he meant to me. And I was talking to somebody the other day, Kobe to me wasn't really likable until about 7 years ago.
Wow.
So
I feel you on that.
Yeah, I wasn't really a Lakers fan, but I respected his game, and I think everybody respect what he brings to the table.
Absolutely.
And you know that he a competitor, not just a competitor, but always described as a fierce competitor. So
I feel you on that.
He was well respected. Everybody knew what he was bringing. He was bringing 100% when he came into the game, and he dedicated himself to his craft, and that's something that I think all of us can take and, insert into our lives about being dedicated to what we do and bringing that passion to the table. That's what I picked up from.
That's deep. I feel you. Most definitely can see that from just even when you look at his career after retirement, how it took off, and you've seen that same drive. Like you say, it's not just him as a basketball player.
Right.
So most definitely can see it. What about you, Marlon?
I was sitting at home watching. I don't even know what I was watching on TV. Then it popped up that he had been killed, and then I really didn't pay too much attention to it. The next thing you know, my phone started blowing up, and getting all these text messages. Did you hear Kobe got killed? I'm like, oh well, I guess it must be true.
Wow.
I sat there for a minute because, like I said, I'm not a big sports fan. And, I watch football, basketball. I just did not, But when I sat there, I was like, is this really happening? I'm like, it's kind of
like you couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I was like, is this one of them things in the Matrix or something? But I'm like, yeah, well. But like I said, the most thing that bothered me with that was, he's got a child that's never gonna get to know him, him.
Right.
Other than pictures, TV, and whatever the family tells. Yeah. Because I believe she's not even old enough to remember him. So I'm like, well, I hate that aspect the most out of all of this.
I understand.
You got a father you're never gonna get to know, and a sister you're never gonna get to know. So,
right.
I feel bad for their family. I do.
Oh, most definitely. And not only that, same with the other 7 people that unfortunately got killed.
It was like a whole family got wiped out. The husband, wife, and the kid.
And the daughter. And it was, just again, it left me speechless. I can't imagine what all of those families are going through and the surviving members of those other families as well. Like you said, mother, father, and a daughter. That's tough. And then for the little young girls that are on that team at the academy, for them to have to endure something like that at that young of an age. Tweens, as we like to call them, all 12 and 13-year-old girls, it's really unfortunate.
Well, I think it make you reflect on your own life and your own family, and you feel like
most
they
definitely
got Kobe. I can be taken at any time.
And it's funny you say that because I know for me, the days following it, just the mood of everywhere I was at, how people were dealing with it. And like you said, Marlon, not even really being a huge sports fan, but Kobe, you knew who he was and you knew what he was about. Hate him or love him, you most definitely respected him. I don't think it was anybody that didn't respect his passion for the game. And, just remembering him coming to the league and, we had seen guys come out of high school, but, not with the confidence he had against Utah in that series. He was throwing them up. He didn't care. It was like, man, this guy got balls.
Well, some newscaster said something, I guess when Kobe was younger, he said something about not wanting to die old or something or another. And he spoke it out. He's like, be careful what you say because, words are powerful. And I'm like, man got killed at 41. I'm like, kind of young, I'm like, and you said something, and I get it like most kids. You said something stupid in your youth and didn't think nothing of it. And here it is, maybe 20-some years later, it came to fruition. Like I said, you got to watch what you say out there.
Yeah, that's most definitely unfortunate. But hey, before we move on, guys, anything else about Kobe in that situation?
Not for me, man. I hate the negative talk about him, once he's gone and people bringing up things that shouldn't be brought up. That's turned my stomach a little bit. But
it's like what me and Dan was talking about outside. I said, you know what? He did what OJ did. He got off. He dropped some money. And he got off, and I hate, why people got mad because those are the people that's out there complaining. Because I guess there was somebody did a mural, and then they over Kobe's face they wrote rapist. Then Walt Disney's daughter,
he wasn't convicted of rape though.
Well, you know what I'm getting at though, but that's what he was.
That.
But Walt Disney, I don't even know what she got to put to the conversation. But she out there talking about it. I'm like, really? You 60? Whatever.
Yeah.
Just because your daddy created everybody, Mickey Mouse and all that, you feel like you got a voice to say, sit your old ass down and shut up. I'm like, and then, or like I said, like I just said, I brought up like he did exactly what OJ did, or some stuff rich white folks been doing for years. Paying to get off on stuff, and nobody says nothing. But when we do it, it's a problem. So
Right, a wealthy man. But hey, for me, just as we finish up talking about Kobe, and you kind of touched on it, Dan. For me, it was really about reflecting on what happened and how tragic. Because at the end of the day, other than being, at a few games, because luckily enough, I had a chance to witness him play quite a few times. And the Lakers, other than the playoffs, they only come here once a year. And,
Right.
but I was fortunate enough to probably see him about 4 or 5 times when he, visited the D over the years. Just his work ethic. I had a chance to take my son to a game and watch Kobe. And when they came out at the half, guys, kind of shooting around, and, you got centers, back then practicing threes and whatnot. And you're like, what are you doing? You need to be working on, what you're not good at in the game for this second half. And Kobe, as long as he had been in the league, was out there, shooting free throws. The whole time when they came out for the second half warm-ups, he was shooting free throws. And towards the end of the game, he hit, guess what? Free throws that helped him secure the victory against the Pistons. But my last thought, just how, it made me want to pick up the phone and apologize to anybody who I had wronged or called myself having an attitude with, because life is too short.
Right.
And with that being said, man,
you see him tomorrow. You'll see him at halftime at the Super Bowl tomorrow, or however they're gonna do that.
What?
They're gonna do some kind of tribute or something at the Super Bowl. I don't know if it's before the game.
I thought you were saying they was gonna do like a holograph.
No.
Man, that'd be quick.
Who knows?
Speaking of that, man, turning but staying on the sports topics, who you guys like in the Super Bowl tomorrow?
I'm going for the Chiefs.
The Chiefs? Why you want to go with the Chiefs?
It ain't been there in 50 years. And then, and I'm like, 50 years they've been named the Chiefs, but I'm like, now people are complaining about the team being called the Kansas City Chiefs. Really? Who can't? 50 years ain't nobody said nothing about it. Now all of a sudden it's a problem.
They
really?
complain about the Redskins.
That too. So I'm like, you know what? I hope they win just for that. I'm like, look, shut up.
Well, the Redskins said so. The Chiefs. Wow, I had forgot that was a topic. Well, like I said, no disrespect to the Indians that offended by
it. There you go. Apologize for something that's been around before we was born.
See, and then you called them Indians.
Yeah, see,
right?
So.
I'm not politically correct, so I'm trying to apologize.
Millennials, get over it.
Right.
This stuff was here before you. It's gonna be here after you.
Quit being soft.
Exactly. Quit being soft.
Can't help it, man. I like Indians. I don't care if that's not what they call. You know what the hell I mean.
Yeah, I know
exactly.
I know what you meant.
Who you like tomorrow in it, Dan?
I just want to see a good game. I ain't got no favorite.
Yeah, you really don't care. When you say that, you don't care. Because I'm kind of leaning towards that, but at the same way.
I'm not even going to a party. I'm just going to sit at home and hope the boy don't knock the TV over, and I hope I can watch the game, So.
Yeah, so it's unanimous. I want to see the Chiefs do it, too.
All right.
But with that being said, man, what you guys want to talk about today?
Well, Marlon about to tell us about some news he been looking at.
Well, see,
he been
I shouldn't say
he been pinging my phone all week.
No, it was just two made about a day and a half. No, it's and the only reason I did it is because it's about them Ring doorbells. And the only reason I brought it up is because
interesting.
Dan got that at the mom's house, and I was like, and I have been hearing some stuff for some couple of months about, how, I don't know if it's Amazon or Ring. Anyway, they give access to everybody who has that. They give the access to those cameras to all local law enforcement, and things of that nature. And then I'm like, okay, what if that? Why are you looking at everybody's Ring, And I didn't give you permission to do that because I was actually thinking about getting one. And it's funny, like I said, we go with the privacy. I'm like, I was looking one up on Amazon. 2 days later, here come all these stories about Ring on my thing. I'm like,
oh, absolutely.
I was like, so they already snooping and looking at what you're buying or looking at what you're interested in buying. I'm like, and Dan was like, well, it's good for security. And then my whole thing was, I don't know if you read George Orwell's book, 1984. I said, that's what the world we live in. I'm like, they watching everything you do. You got to watch what you say. I'm like, this is crazy. And I'm like, okay, for the sake of security, how much of your freedom you going to give up? Because, and I'm like, and I'm not willing to do that.
Quite a bit of it.
Being former law enforcement, I'm like, I don't like that. And then he was bringing up the thing about the green lights. And I'm like, that's a useless project because I'm like, it ain't doing nothing, or they trying to say it is. But in my opinion, it's not doing anything. And I'm like, okay, the facial recognition. Get that to work right before you put it out there. I'm like, you can sell all this stuff all you want, but I'm like, it's an invasion on people's privacy because I'm like, I ain't doing nothing. So I don't need you looking at my face or popping up my information or anything like that. I'm like, it's just crazy. I'm not, I was going to get one of them doorbells, but I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass. And next time I come over to your mom's house, I'm going to do like this. Yeah.
It's going to catch you on the way up to the door.
See,
so
now,
it don't really matter.
See,
you might as well put a hood on
and
cover your face up the whole time you on your way
I hope
up to
on
the
my
house.
way home, I hope they still got it. I should have bought it yesterday. They got one of them things at the liquor store. I'm going to go buy one and put it over buy it today.
You're just going to walk around with that on because everywhere you go is cameras now.
Exactly. See,
I'm like, as much as you against giving up your privacy for security,
we're not
on tape everywhere.
We're not as bad as London. London has the most cameras of any city in the world. Everywhere.
Now, what I agree with you on, the cameras are obviously not a crime deterrent because people still getting shot up and robbed at green lights.
Exactly.
And everybody know the cameras there. But what it does do is give you an opportunity to see who did it.
Yeah. I still don't like it, but hey, whatever.
I mean, you like it or not. It
It
does give you something.
Yeah, like
you giving up, so you get something. You give up something.
See, I'm not. But see, like I said, I'm not willing to give up any of that. Like I said,
you already gave it up.
I didn't give up.
Carry a cell phone around.
I ain't got no choice.
Yes, you do.
Well, I take it back. I do.
You could be like Paulie and Goodfellas and just everything word of mouth.
No, what I could do is get rid of this one. I got one of them old flip ones. I can go back to using that.
Okay, then do
I
that.
think it's gonna work.
No, it does. It does. I just had it shut off because I had bought another one of these. But
I think they can track any device that's going over those airways.
Well, I don't know. They ain't tracking me. Or like I said, the funny thing is, like when I got promoted with the department, they sent us to a class on some internet and social media stuff. And because I had that class, that's why I got off the Facebook and all that other garbage, But there's some kind of government facility in Colorado because they showed us pictures of the place.
Okay.
Every last one of us, every text message you send, every picture you send, I mean, even the dirty ones and whatever, they got a file on every last one of us.
You've been going through my phone.
I ain't been going through nothing, but I'm just saying. We
Seems
all
like you emphasize the dirtiness.
we all grown, but I'm like, yeah, exactly. But
we gotta understand.
But what I'm saying is they've got a file on everybody.
Yeah.
But what they said is they don't go into anyone's file unless you're making threats about the government. So I'm like, I don't believe that.
Exactly.
But so I'm like, everybody in this country, you gotta. There's a file.
You
There's
got a
file.
signature online.
Yep.
Everybody do.
Right.
Everybody know what you went
The
to.
government.
Your footprint or
The
fingerprint, I'm
government
sorry.
knows what you're doing.
Yes. So like your phone right now will tell you anybody that got a phone and you have your GPS on it, it'll tell you how long it's gonna take you to get home before you leave work. That's how much your phone know what you're doing. Your phone know what kind of porn you like and everything else. And then if you start threatening the government, then we all will know what kind of porn you like and everything else you went to. And you got to have that understanding.
So I think the moral to the story here is you only need to look at and do things that you don't give a damn if somebody else know about.
Right.
Or that, or like I said, if you do, like I said, they put. I honestly believe, they don't try to hide anything. I'm like, if you put it on TV, I'm like, some of the stuff that you see on TV that's fiction or fake. No, they telling you the truth. It's right out there. They showing it to you, but they putting it out there in a movie. But I'm like, it's for real. And I'm like, the truth is there. You just got to look for it.
Right. That remind me when you said a movie, I think it was the Great White Hype, when they tried to show him pictures to blackmail him. And he was like, I don't care about those pictures.
Right.
Like it was Samuel playing Don King. But yeah, most definitely. I understand that. But with the Ring doorbell for me, because I have one as well, and I understand that any and everybody can see what's going on through that and hear conversations. But shit, it worked for me when I needed to do what I needed to do.
Now I got to start wearing sunglasses to everybody damn house.
Everybody know who you are already. What difference do it make? I don't understand.
I'm not nationally known. Well,
you are now. This is a nationally syndicated
anybody
podcast.
can get on here and see who you are.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, who cares?
Yeah, well, see, goddamn it, obviously I do. That's what I said. So.
No, it don't. Because like I told you, you carry your cell phone around. Just like you went on there, you thought about getting a ring, and then you just started getting all kind of other things about ring. Just like we sitting here talking. Well, I don't know if it was me and you at the table one day. We was talking. Nobody was touching their phone. Going to Google, and it just started showing what we was talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know
now that's happened to me before too.
Yep,
So yeah, you gonna give up your privacy for convenience.
You
Everybody
done gave
need to
it up.
understand.
You
Yeah,
need to
you
talk
gave it up.
past tense.
And I don't know how many people look at the stuff that these apps want when you download apps to your phone. They get your call log. They want all your pictures. So you might
And you
not
have to accept those
if you
terms
want
in order to get
the
the app.
So you think, you people don't have access to your stuff. These apps have it, and then they sell it to third party so they can market stuff to you.
Oh well, yeah, because I got some pictures of the family, through Shutterfly. I somehow or another that app got access to all the pictures of my phone. Because next thing you know, I'm going to the app.
Yeah.
They showing me a coffee mug. With some stuff they ain't got no business being on there, but they want to make it, and so I'm looking like, what the fuck is this?
Yes.
Yep, they know.
For the convenience of being, on your phone, or
Yeah.
you give up your privacy. So you in all your all our information.
Well,
is on the
honestly,
phone.
I just hope something happens to where people wake up and
Like
realize. I don't know.
Give me an
So,
example.
quick story
I don't
before
know.
you
I
get
don't
into
know.
that
I don't
example. I'm going to tell you a quick story about how and why the ring was actually helped out. My stepdaughter one day came by my house unannounced, and anybody know me, anytime someone stops by my house, it's typically because they've been invited. That's just how I grew up. I'm not some tyrant. But for the most part, people only come to my house when they've been invited or they let me know they're coming. So my Ring doorbell app goes off, and I see her at my door. So she gets back in her car, and she drives off. So I immediately pick up the phone, and I call her number. She doesn't answer. So I'm like, wow, that was strange. So, of course, I call again. Now I'm like, why did you ring my doorbell and immediately get back in the car and drive off? So fast forward 30 minutes later, she calls back and like, sorry about that. I had left my phone in the studio, and I knew if it rang, the guy at the studio would hear it, and he, tried to, realize that my phone was there and that she was at the door of the studio trying to get back in because he went to see if she was gone yet, and she was actually at the door. So I stay, I guess, 5 minutes from the studio she was at. She said, if I go to his house, ring his Ring doorbell, I know he's going to get it. And when he sees me and he see me get back in my car and leave, he's going to call me. Now, I would have never thought of no shit like that to do to try to get access to someplace else where her phone was at.
That's these damn kids nowadays.
And she was smart enough to utilize my Ring app and knowing how I'm on top of things, and would immediately follow up as to why you was at my house and left like that.
Right.
And was able to get back into the studio and get her phone. I said, wow, that's using more than the brain power I use myself.
Right.
So
that's these new kids and these new kids and this new technology.
That's me. That's my Ring experience. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So what else you guys want to talk about this afternoon?
Okay. What else did I?
Let's talk about it.
What else? What else did I send you? Because that one thing I sent
you sent me something. I don't know where this was at. And I immediately thought of every parent out there that I know.
Okay.
Was that the one?
This the lady with her husband.
Oh, the guy that jacked off on the cake.
And she was.
Oh wow! Slow down.
She took some pastries to the school.
Okay.
That she knew he ejaculated into and gave them to the kids.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, here we go. Let's see.
So, wait, I'm so confused here. So you said a lady went up to a school.
She worked there. She was a teacher.
Okay, yeah, okay. So fill me in here. So we got a school teacher to her class?
They are Louisiana couple.
Yeah. Gave the pastries to her class.
Livingston Parish County. What is it? Cynthia and Dennis Perkins. They're in the midst of a divorce, are facing sex charges.
I wonder why they're getting a divorce.
Turn on each other.
The man involved, they had to bring this up. He's a former sheriff's deputy down there. His wife is a junior high school teacher down there, and
junior high. Oh yeah, the kids probably getting on their damn nerves. Still don't justify.
Yeah, that ain't a reason to put your husband
Well, they ain't telling why they
extra
did it.
special sauce in the
Yeah, they didn't tell why they
in the
did it.
cupcakes.
But it's also saying that the couple is also accused of producing child porn, sexually abusing animals, and rape. So I'm like,
Where did you say this was at?
in Louisiana.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's see, what is this? I don't know where Livingston Parish is, so I don't know where that is in Louisiana.
It's so much I want to comment on that, but I might be down in the dirty South. I don't want to offend anybody. I just wow, that's unfortunate.
Well,
yeah. So you can't, for anybody that got kids, generally you can't bring homemade stuff to the school. It had to be purchased and it got to be sealed.
Exactly.
Now, I heard it was because of allergies, but not because of, somebody's husband, getting off into the mix. So, but generally, I think that precaution was for allergies. But now, I don't want kind of.
It ain't like when we was growing up,
home cooking from nobody.
Yeah, it ain't like when we was growing up. People made stuff and brought it home, and we all ate it, and it was okay. Just the stuff that we did as a kid, and it's just the same that today's youth can't enjoy that. I'm like, we used to go trick or treating.
They still trick or treat,
but I'm like, nah, you got to take your candy to the police station to get an X-ray because people don't put stuff in it.
I ain't never did that. What police station got an X-ray machine that you know of?
Well, it ain't nothing around here. We don't do that. But I'm like, I know some that do, and that's
they might be using a metal detector.
Yeah.
Not necessarily X-ray.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll take that.
Yeah,
taking it to the airport. TSA.
Remember when your school had the fundraiser and you had to go knock on people's door to sell the candy? You can't even do that no more.
Now that's a scam. I hate that because.
But I'm saying what happens now is we got to take the order form to work and we got to sell the candy for the kids.
As you should, but I mean, I don't like that program because they rob the shit out of kids, man. I probably sold $800-900 worth of candy, and they gave me this cheap ass pinball machine that didn't even work like a whole week. So no, they cheating the kids on that. The prizes ain't even that good. So fuck that program.
So tell me how you really feel about this program.
You sound bad.
I probably am. I'm telling you, I sold a lot of candy when I was in the 80s. And the stuff that they was giving up for prizes was not worth the amount of money that I was putting up. I needed something better.
But that on that one thing, it was the other thing is just, I don't know, this week, I didn't send anything to them. It was just stuff that I was popping up on my feed. All these parents that are just harming their kids, I'm like, what in God's name is going on? The parents arguing, gun goes off, kid gets shot, step-parent, ex-boyfriend, girlfriend, harming the kids. I said, my God, the kids ain't just getting hurt, they're actually dying. And I'm like, these kids are like 1, 2, 4 years old. I'm like, Jesus, what is going on in the world today?
I think what's happening, we talk about all the time. We most definitely get more coverage on it. But I think part of it too, and everybody out there in our listening surrounding areas, don't quote me on none of this. I don't consider myself to be the authority on anything, but I will say that we're in a time in our society where it's a lot of hopelessness, and that's just a matter of people, doing a better job of utilizing the resources that are available to you. I think us, and especially in our black community, we have to do a better job of seeking help when we feel like we've got to a point where we're hopeless on moving forward. I think that too many times, and I don't want to offend anybody that has strong religious beliefs, but especially in our community, I feel like we try to pray away our problems instead of seeking professional help. We're in a day and age where we truly can assess why you feel the way you feel, and surprisingly, no matter what you think you're going through by yourself, there's 20 people out there that went through the same thing. I think we just got to do a better job of knowing your friends and family and checking up on them. We talked about this a few podcasts ago, but, and don't just assume that the ones who are always the bubbly bright ones is okay. Do a welfare check on them, mentally,
Exactly.
with people you close to. And I think that most definitely would be beneficial. I'm sorry, Dan.
Why you think we don't get help in the black community?
I think
Can't afford it.
I don't even think it's that, to be honest with you. I know in our family, Dan and I talked about a couple of podcasts ago how big of a family we come from. His dad, my mother, come from a family of 15. And I just remember growing up that, if somebody wanted to know something as simple as how old one of my uncles might have been, we were almost put through torture, pounding it into our heads that you don't discuss absolutely nothing about nobody in this house.
Right.
Nothing. If they ask you, do he like cheese on his eggs? They need to go and talk to him. You don't discuss anything.
Right. No family business.
How old is that baby? Oh, it's 6 months. We said don't discuss anything. If that baby wanted them to know how many months old it was, they tell them itself. So we kind of just was growing up in an environment where any and everything was not to be discussed outside of the home. And there's shit that go on in our houses that, we try to rationalize it and think is normal. It's not. It's late Charlie Murphy would say, wrong. It's things that we see and experience that we shouldn't at certain ages and things like that. And you need to be able to get that off your chest.
Today's society doesn't seem to jive with any of that, because like I said, a lot of things that we grew up with, is misconstrued as being wrong now, and you can't you can't do anything about it. I don't know what happened or how this happened, but I'm like,
we was the same way towards our parents, though. I think they didn't know shit. We knew everything.
Yeah, but see, as we got older, or I know at least for me, I realized some of the things that my parents did. I'm like, I understand why they did it now.
Absolutely.
Back then, I'm like wishing death and I hate you and all that. But I understand it now. And it. Yeah, I guess, for the young kids, it's going to take life experience to, understand, hey, them old cats knew what they was talking about, and then when they get in our position, they gonna start saying the same thing.
And I think when you see something like the tragedy with, somebody that the younger generation can kind of idolize with and feel a certain way about, with Kobe.
That ring.
I think, that was the Ring doorbell notification there.
See?
I know somebody's in front of my house. But I think with the Kobe situation, the younger generations, your teenagers right now, they, remember him specifically, not like we remember Jordan because that was before their time.
Mm-hmm.
I think they see that it can happen to anybody, these type of things, hopefully. I keep on having faith in them because, shit, they the ones that's going to have to take care of me in another 20 years.
I'm scared. So I'm scared of these kids.
I got to gamble and bet on them that they're going to be all right. They're probably going to come up with a cure to keep my ass around here for another 60 years.
You just got to talk to them, man. I think that's it. You just got to talk to them. They hear you, and they got to go out and make their own mistakes, but you got to talk to them and let them know it's okay if they not okay. It's okay if they need to talk to somebody. It's okay if you need help. It's okay if you go get help. There's nothing wrong with getting counseling if you need that. Because we don't know how to work through our problems. We drink through them. That's been our remedy for years. You know what I'm saying?
Drink or smoke.
Yeah, you drink and you smoke, and that's how you deal with your situation. You get high, you get drunk, and you forget about it for the night.
So but you kind of answered your own question to get back to it.
It's still there tomorrow.
Why don't we seek outside help?
Yeah, but we even though we doing that little remedy that feel good for a minute, that don't just solve the problem. You know what I'm saying?
It's the Band-Aid.
We're not getting to the root cause of what's bothering us and what's going on. So I think we have to be first understand ourselves that it's okay and talk about the help that we may seek out. And then once they see us doing it, then they will know that, it's okay. That's leading by example.
Okay.
Us showing that, it's okay if you need to get some help and understand how we got here. Because a lot of times we don't even understand how we got to where we are until we go get that help.
This is true.
And you see how your parents or certain situations damaged you at some point in your youth that you don't even really think about on the surface.
That's deep, and sometimes you need somebody else to kind of help you get through that. But it's funny because, Marlon, you talk a lot about our youth, and, I always laugh and tease you about, get off of my lawn. But talking about our youth, I just ran across this story on the news earlier this week, and I have to tell you, it was kind of funny, even though two people were actually shot and are in critical condition.
Wow.
But let me tell you a little bit about the story. Two female neighbors got into an altercation in Detroit on the west side, and one neighbor actually pulled her weapon and shot the other neighbor, and the other neighbor in turn, which they were CPL holders, in turn fired back and shot the neighbor who had just shot her.
See?
Okay.
These ladies were 71 years old and
Yeah,
55 years
yep,
old.
Yep,
Okay.
I remember hearing about that.
So
All right.
you talk about there is no age discrimination to just doing wild shit.
See,
So
like I said, I'm not trying to take no bit.
Where was they? Next door to each other?
Hey, dude, they were across the street
Across the
neighbors from
street.
each other. So they was dumping at each other. For those of you who don't understand, they were shooting at each other from across the street.
How you getting?
Only 3 shots were, or I'm sorry, 2 shots were fired. So I'm looking at it a little deeper. Like, first of
Right.
all, both of these chicks could shoot.
Yeah.
Second of all, what is these old chicks doing shooting at each other?
Yeah, that's
You know, because I had to say it because the state, I don't know if it's the country, the state, for the sake of money, you just passing them CPLs out like candy. And I'm like, I don't care what kind of training or what you putting firearms in irresponsible people's hands. Because I hate to say it, gun violence has always been there, but it seems to be rising because of like these stories. Well, it's such and such was a CPL holder. But I'm like, it was like, remember, like I said, when we was kids, or like when I first you had to go through all kind of hoops and hurdles. The only way you really got a CPL back in the day was if you owned a business or you was carrying large sums of money.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, go ahead and go take a class. And okay, and I ain't trying to take no business from us, but go ahead and go take this class. Yeah, we'll let you go ahead and have one. And I'm like, look, this is the result of that.
I think this situation, it wouldn't have mattered if they were
Yeah,
CPL
I mean,
holders or not.
Even if we talk about before people was able to get CPLs, it was still guns in the
Oh,
house.
still guns, but you see more people going to the store buying them now.
Yeah, that's business.
Right. That's like I said, for the sake,
that's what
for the
it's
sake,
about.
exactly, for the sake of some dollars.
Yeah, it's
You
all
don't
about
lower,
business.
like you lowered some standards, and I'm like, this is the result of that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, or I always say, I ain't never had a whole lot of money, but I'm like, God damn, how much money is enough? How much, when, just like, when is enough is enough? I'm like I said, all these people ain't got no business having these pistols, but because
Obviously,
somebody,
it's not enough.
Well, I
Look,
guess-
when you get some more money, you always accumulate more bills.
well, yeah, this is true.
So, if you got, what you got a house note. You may have a car note. Those are the bills you have. Now, you get a little more money, you might buy a yacht. And then you got to pay the crew. And you got a gas expensive on boats.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So you got to pay
Very
for that.
expensive.
And then if you make some more money, you might put a helicopter on your new boat. It just keep growing and growing.
See, I'm just gonna wait till you get the boat and just freeload.
That's okay. But there's still them expenses there. So we still got to keep selling stuff. That's how it works. So
Well,
it ain't never enough because people that want that people that have that stuff want to keep it, and then they want to give it to their kids or their family when they when they leave off, they pass away, and then they don't want they want their kids to have that money. So it ain't really never enough. So you always going. This country is greedy. People around the world greedy in general. To me.
Right.
And everybody always want everything. Like I want everything. I'm one of them. I ain't ashamed to tell you. I would love to have a yacht with a helicopter on the back of it. I would love to.
See, the only way I'm going to feel comfortable with a yacht with a helicopter is I have to not see no homeless people anymore. I'm not going to buy my first yacht until we abolish homelessness.
Well, see,
I don't even believe him. As good as that sound, and he might be
Well, he's
telling
got
the
I'm
a-
truth.
actually
he's got a-
visualing myself having
he's
to
got-
explain
I mean-
this when I buy my first yacht and my helicopter and
But
it's
like I
still
said,
homeless fucking
this is
people.
going off into another topic. But like I said, there is no reason why there should be anybody homeless in
It
this.
shouldn't
in
be,
this
but
country.
you know what? It's shitty people in the world, and
Yep.
that we operate with both sides of every spectrum. It's gonna be rich people and poor people. It's gonna be good people and bad people. The world don't turn if we don't have that. So it's gonna be some people without houses. If they trying to help themselves, I'm willing to help them. I'm gonna look out for you. I'm gonna do something for you. But if you just laying off in the streets because that's your thing, and some people that's just their thing,
But how did it become their thing? That's what I
right.
would always challenge.
then
Right.
that's something we can investigate. You know what I'm saying? Some people is all kind. I hear tons of stories because I happen to talk to a lot of homeless people when I'm in the street because I like to know, how did you get here? Like when we had the union meetings and it's extra food, I always take that food to the people at the 75 or under the underpass on Woodward. I give them the food and I talk to them. How did you get here? Some people, it was injury. I got hooked on whatever.
Exactly.
Some people like, man, I don't want to pay no bills. Some of them just, that's how they choose to live. And some people just in terrible situations and they struggling to come up from it. It's a variety of stories out there.
Yeah.
But it's always going to be that element. You know what I'm saying?
I guess for me, I look at it like this, and thanks for your insight on it, Marlon. Most definitely, thank you for your counterpoint on it. But for me, I know if let's say I've been introduced to dogs lately. Let's say it's a one of them little lap dogs. We'll say
one of the mutant dogs they done created.
No, one of
You
those
saying with the homeless people?
No, one of these little teacup Yorkies.
Yeah.
Let's say we seen one of those, at the overpass at Woodward. Are we gonna just make sure we throw him a sandwich, so that he don't starve tonight? No, we gonna pick him up. We'll even run across traffic. And I know people gonna say that dog has no choice, but the dog maybe bit his owner, and that's why he got put out. I'm not justifying it.
Right.
I'm not justifying it at all. The owner is wrong because at the end of the day, the pet can't take care of itself. But we all know that a pet, I don't care how much you love your pet. I know you have dogs, and tons of people have dogs and cats and whatnot. By law, these are just possessions. They're not considered human, but they will be treated far much better than a lot of humans will, because a lot of people's perception is exactly what you said, Dan. They think that people have made a choice. It's kind of like when we was to rewind back to when they was in elementary. I guarantee you nobody's choice was, I'm going to be homeless.
Right.
I'm going to be hooked on, this particular drug. As you say, we know how these things happen. If we go back, and you talked about it kind of when you going over with him, with some of the root causes to how you got there. And as a society, that's what I talk about when I get on my soapbox and pound the table and say we can do better. Because we know the solutions. We know if we have to take these homeless people in and figure out what their issue is. If they want to be off the grid, let's get them up in the mountains of Nebraska, Kentucky, or wherever, and do you. No, but we'll even have a few little emergency spots out there to where if you can't survive out here, you can go call up here and we'll drop a deer carcass off for you. You can still live, off the grid.
Right.
But we can't just have people out here who are, being as we like to say, the stain on society, because they do have these issues, and now, they're committing crimes, or, people are strung out on these different drugs and whatnot. Yeah. We got enough money as a country where we can abolish that.
Mental health problems, and we don't have the facilities for them anymore, and they in the street.
Exactly.
Yeah, we do have the money for it, but it take society as a whole to be compassionate about that.
Right.
Because
but the powers to be, they had the control to lead us to believe whatever we need to believe, just through what we believe in. When we look at TV, the people who are in charge in the religious organizations, how they, lead you to believe what they need you to believe in order for you to believe. I know that sounded real crazy.
Yes, it did.
Just kind of sit there and marinate on that. Right. You might have to get back to me next week to understand what I just said right there. But my point is this. I think that we know what the issues are. We sitting here just on the podcast. We know how some of these people get in these situations. We understand it. There's bigger and smarter people out there than us that are so-called running the country. Why we don't take advantage of these things and, build these community centers, give teachers better pay than some of the other people, and make sure the people who police us, submit to certain standards and pay them accordingly as well.
Just take a coming together of the community. And once we get people to understand that moving numbers and how your vote matter, then they'll get it. Then you get things done. Until that happens,
Well,
nothing's gonna get done.
Nothing will ever happen. Something cataclysmic is going to have to happen in order for any of that to come to fruition. So I don't know if it's going to be something global, something world, something I don't know what, but something's going to have to affect everybody on every scale in this world. You know, rich people, poor people, people in between. It's going to have to affect everybody in order for any kind of change to going to happen. Because, like I said, all we doing is talking. You know, and people hear us. They agree with us. There's gonna be something, but ain't nothing gonna happen.
Who putting the time in? It take time and effort to, like, if you want to get compassionate about homelessness, that take time and effort, and it take a group and numbers and people to move on elected officials to understand that, hey, we want money going into this, or we will replace you. That's what people need to do to get results done.
And like I said, this has been a problem since we was kids, and it's still here. So I'm like, what does that say? What's gonna happen? I'm like, it's a never ending struggle because
I think in our society sometimes too, and that's kind of a little over here far right winged with it. I think sometimes too, what happens is major distractions are put upon us when we do start forming against a big thing. Just real quick, because we're getting to the end of the podcast here. I think what happens is we start to form and come together, and then we get distracted. It's almost like that Labrador Retriever is out there, playing and focused, and then somebody hollered squirrel, and all of a sudden he lost his mind. He forgot about what the focus was.
Right.
Just fast forward or rewind real quick. We think about how in the black community, we were supposed to be banning Gucci, I think. What happened with that ban? That things are too short-lived too often.
Right.
We got to maintain the focus and not let the distraction, because sometimes the distraction may come from the government.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it does. Just what they feed us on the idiot box. And
I think
so
we
forth.
can't be moved by temporary social media movements.
That's
it
my
got to
point.
be a solid,
You're right.
structured group or person that's running, the effort to get what we need done.
Right.
I think
and
that's
you. So just so you know, start getting yourself in the position of doing that.
All right.
If I haven't said it before, and I'm not just saying this because you pay me. He doesn't actually pay me. You should though. But anyway, I just think that
I'll co-sign your bullshit.
You actually have a
you.
great
I
mind,
appreciate that.
and I see big things coming from you, Dan, over and beyond just the business. I really like your mindset. And most definitely need you to keep this rascal Marlon in check for love when we go back and forth. So, great topic today. I mean, we could always dig so much deeper into these things. It's always a pleasure to, go back and forth with you guys.
Right.
Just to kind of recap, you asked a really good question. It's just something that, every week, if we can leave our listeners with one thing to kind of, finish out your weekend going to the new week. You actually said a couple of key things. And the first one, talking about your experience and with Kobe passing away. You talked about, just putting in that work ethic at whatever it is you're going to do, give it the passion. I seen a quote from Kobe. He said, if you practice like Game 7, when you get to Game 7, it won't be anything but practice.
Right.
You won't have to do anything major. And then you talked about, or you asked the question, why, especially in our black community, aren't we seeking help when we know that there is something wrong? We know that we need to maybe talk to someone. Why aren't we doing anything to fix that? So some great points you brought up to, give people something to think about over the next week.
Right.
Some great points. And I'll say again, man, I love the way you think, and I anticipate you doing big things. Hopefully that's not too much to put on your shoulders, but you got big shoulders. You'll be all right.
Thank you. I'll be okay.
Fat shoulders.
That's all right.
Yeah, you guys gonna have to arm wrestle when we get outside. So Dan, as we get ready to wrap up here, man, one last time, tell our listeners how they can get in touch with us.
You can get in touch with us on any social media platform at Athena Protection Service. reach us on our 800 number at 800-951-4866 or on our website, athenaprotections.com.
All right. Make sure you hit that like and that share button and tell a friend. Merle, any last things before we get out of here?
Yeah, stay tuned for next week because I'm pretty sure we'll have some more shenanigans and God knows what.
All right.
Hey, man, just great. And last thing, I like to do my little editorial at the end where we got a few seconds left. Tell somebody you love them. Pick up that phone and, it's the new age. Text message somebody and tell them, hey, we need to get together and talk if you haven't talked or you fell out about something. Speak to your neighbor.
Yeah, don't shoot at them.
Seen a neighbor saved another neighbor's package from being pirated. So get to know your neighbors, reach out to your friends, family, and do them mental checks on the people that are close to you.
Them people next door to me crazy.
And nothing is private. Be careful what you put online.
Hey,
Exactly.
if that ain't one to grow on.
Right.
Hey, thanks again to anybody that's out there, everybody that's out there listening to us. Another great podcast. And thank you, Podcast Detroit, for having us. Athena Protection. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Yes, sir.